What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and they are finally doing it. They are printing the Kuriboh brothers as physical cards. So these were announced late last night for the Animation Chronicle 2021 OCG pack. We don't know when they will release in the TCG, but we do know in the OCG that this set will be released on June 12th, 2021, so not too far away, about a month. Now in today's video, I'm not going to be showing the OCG version of the card. There's someone on DeviantArt that makes TCG translations for OCG cards before the TCG versions release, so that's what we're using in today's video. So just know, even though these cards say DeviantArt on them, they are official cards announced from the OCG, but these ones are going to be in English so we can actually read them. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe for more content. It looks like these were not the only reveals from yesterday, and I want to make sure I talk about the other reveals in a future video. Now I know we want to look at the new Kuriboh brother monsters as soon as possible, but let's talk about 5-star Twilight first. This is the main way that you will be summoning these cards, and it's also the way that Yugi summoned them in the anime. 5-star Twilight is a normal spell that says, if the only monster you control is one level 5 monster, tribute that monster, special summon one Kariba, one Karibi, one Kuribu, one Kuribe, and one Kuriboh from your hand, deck, and or graveyard, but they cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. You can only activate one 5-star Twilight per turn. So this card is really great. They did not put any relevant restrictions on the Kuribohs. Sure, you can't use them for tribute summons, but you are allowed to use them for Xyz summons and link summons and synchro summons, so that's pretty cool. As for the activation requirement, that is super easy. You only have to control one level 5 monster. Now you can't control any other monsters, but there are a bunch of level 5 monsters that special summon themselves for free, so this shouldn't be a very difficult effect to use. It should be pretty easy, and that is great because the payoff is pretty big, right? You special summon 5 monsters from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Holy crap, that is a big plus in card advantage. Now admittedly, you are only summoning a bunch of random Kuribohs, which we're going to look at in a moment here, but still, the sheer amount of card advantage that this card gives you is a big deal. So let's take a look at the Kuribohs that you'll be summoning with 5-star Twilight. Kariba is a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster with 300 attack and 200 defense. It says this card is also always treated as a Kuriboh card. Now one thing to note here, that is not saying that this card's name is treated as Kuriboh. It's more like the Archfiend text where it says this card is always treated as an Archfiend card. Now why does that matter? Well, a couple of these cards, including this one, mention Kuriboh monsters, and if these cards did not have that line of text, they would not be Kuriboh monsters, because, for example, this one's name is Kariba, not Kuriboh, so that is very important. It's also very important for cards like Reborn, which revive Kuriboh monsters from your graveyard. Anyway, the rest of this card's effect says, when this card or your Kuriboh monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one monster with 300 attack and 200 defense from your deck, except Kariba. You can only use this effect of Kariba once per turn. You contribute this card you control plus 4 monsters from your hand and or field, one each of Karibi, Kuribu, Kuribe, and Kuriboh. Special summon one Babylon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. We'll talk about Babylon in a moment, but this card is pretty good. It turns all of your other Kuriboh monsters into floaters, which is really nice, and it has that special summon effect for Babylon. Karibi is a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster with 300 attack and 200 defense. This one, once again, is always treated as a Kuriboh card. When this card or your Kuriboh monster is destroyed by battle, you can add one spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Kuriboh in its text. You can only use this effect of Karibi once per turn. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack while you control another Kuriboh monster, you can change the attack of as many other other monsters you currently control as possible to 0 until the end of this turn, and if you do, negate that attack. Admittedly, the attack negation effect is not super appealing, but turning your Kuriboh monsters into floaters for spells and traps that list Kuriboh in their text, that is a pretty decent ability. Keep in mind though that like many of the Kuriboh monsters, it's not so much about their individual effects on the board or in the hand or whatever, it's about swarming the field with a bunch of Kuribohs and using those for bigger summons. Kuribu is unsurprisingly a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster with 300 attack and 200 defense. And once again here, this card is also always treated as a Kuriboh card. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can discard this card, add one Kuriboh monster from your deck to your hand except Kuribu. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can discard one trap, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1500 attack until the end of this turn. Here we have another card where the on-field effect doesn't super matter, however, that in-hand effect is pretty great. It doesn't negate the attack for some reason, I don't really know why, but it does give you a search for any Kuriboh monster in your deck, except Kuribu. So while it is slower than most other modern cards, Kuribu does give Kuribohs a searching ability, and it does add some consistency to the strategy. Kariba is a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster with, yes, 300 attack and 200 defense. This card is also always treated as a Kuriboh card. Quick effect, you can discard this card, then target one Kuriboh monster you control. It gains 1500 attack. You contribute this card you control plus 4 monsters from your hand and or field, one each of Kariba, Karibi, Kuribu, and Kuriboh. Add one Bandit from your deck or graveyard to your hand, then immediately after this card resolves, you can normal summon one Fiend monster from your hand. Wow, that is a lot of effort to normal summon a Bandit. Yeah, this card is probably one of the less good in the deck. The 1500 attack might actually be the most relevant part of this effect. Now you have a way to throw a bunch of cards in the trash to summon a Bandit. That brings us to Babylon, the big payoff of the archetype. This is what all of the other cards have been leading up to. Babylon is a level 5 Dark Fiend effect monster with 1500 attack and 1000 defense. Gains 300 attack and defense for each Kuriboh monster you control and in your graveyard. You can only use one of the following effects of Babylon per turn, and only once that turn. If you have more monsters in your graveyard than your opponent does, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main or battle phase quick effect, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one Kariba, Bee, Boo, Bay, and Bo from your hand and or graveyard in attack position. So this card is pretty interesting. It can get up to a lot of attack points. It's not going to gain as much attack as King of the Skull Servants or Gren Maju, for example. It's only gaining 300 for each Kuriboh, but it does start out at 1500, which is pretty nice. This card might be able to OTK the opponent. Also, it's pretty easy to have more monsters in the graveyard than your opponent. All you would have to do is go first, summon any level 1 monster, and make a Link Kuriboh. Now you have one monster in your graveyard and your opponent has 0, so you could special summon this card from your hand. So I think there are plenty of ways to use these new cards. Kuribohs were already pretty good at spamming monsters, and now we have even more ways to do that. You could turn them into Xyz monsters, or Link monsters, or Synchro monsters. You could also use that big Dystopia card as well. That might be a pretty relevant boss monster in a Kuriboh deck. So there are a lot of options with these new cards, and I know they are big anime favorites. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. These new Kuriboh cards are pretty darn exciting. I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.